Hey guys, what's going on? This time I am not late with the hero pool. 30 minutes after it got launched, we just captured our cities and gates in Eden, and so I'm ready to get into this hero pool. So same thing as I did in the last video, the tier list video. I created sort of these charts to go along with these heroes. We already knew who these heroes were, so I was able to kind of prepare ahead of time. I got a lot of feedback from you guys that you are liking these charts, so I'll continue to do it for all of these heroes, and if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you'll find out in this video. So anyway, here is the pool. Rose Noir, Cannoness, Death Rider, Crusher, and the Patriot. Yeah, decent pool off the bat. And kind of what I normally do is we rank these heroes out of 4. So 1 through 4, 1 being the worst, 4 obviously being the best. Take the average of all of those heroes and then sort of go ahead and normalize the data is kind of the way that it goes, I guess you could say. So with that said, let's get right into it. Rose Noir. Now, kind of the way that I talk about these heroes is according to Season X. It's not really, and according to the current meta, it's not like if this is your first Season X hero, is she going to be good or not? Compared to like Season 1 and stuff, it's all about the Season X meta. So don't get mad at me if I say that these heroes aren't good. They're good compared to everything other than other Season X heroes. So here's Rose's kind of chart, the thing that I was talking about in the beginning. Going clockwise, her tank, no, not at all. She is absolutely not a tank. She is a ranged archer, meaning she goes in the back line, or potentially you can flex her in the middle. I mean, her combat ranges are 5, which is essentially the max. So she would go in the back line. She has absolutely no defensive stats. She's basically full glass cannon. She doesn't have any support at all, really. She has decent amount of CC, so her 8th ability, Fatal Erosion, has this CC being disarmed, silenced, confused, I guess interrupted, and troop recovery block. I guess I'm going to be considering that a CC now at this point in time. So it has the ability to do any one of those after 2 auto attacks, or it's 35% chance, and it lasts for 1 turn, and that's just to 1 enemy squad. Anyway, the main deal about Rose is kind of damage. That's why you can obviously say it skews significantly towards damage, but there's also a CC point. Now, adaptability is arguably one of the more important stats, unless you have a hero who like specializes in one area. Adaptability means how usable is this hero in kind of other combos, or do you need a specific combo to be using this hero? So for Rose, she's not that adaptable. She basically needs to be with shooters, and she needs to be with shooters that basic attack, essentially. So Crochet, Nomad, Tracker. Anna, a little bit, if you have another shooter. So if you have like, Anna, Rose, Nomad, that's okay. Because Anna could essentially give Nomad extra basic attacks. But it's all about basic attacking shooters for Rose, and she can't be placed in the front line. She pretty much has to be back row or potentially flexed in the mid, like I said. So that's Rose. She's decent right now. She pairs pretty well with Tracker, actually, so you can do something like Crochet, Tracker, Rose. It's actually a fairly good 5th APC in, I guess, today's meta. Today, I mean like right now, not like necessarily today, but in the current season that we have. So I'm giving Rose a 2 out of 4. She's not a 1, so if you get her, it's okay. She's basically just like a 50-50 hero. You don't invest that many resources in getting Rose, but if you get her, you will probably end up using her here or there. So that's Rose. Moving on, we actually have Cannoness next. So Cannoness, I actually reviewed her last 2 weeks ago, and I gave her a pretty bad score. I gave her a 2. That was a mistake. Cannoness is a 3, and people called me out on it for the comments, so thank you Thank you for that. But she's a 3. I was just being kind of strict on her because she wasn't really being used in the meta comps after Wrath and Tracker came out. And that's more or less just due to the fact that the other heroes were kind of already taken. But in that scenario, it's not really fair. If you get Cannoness, she's good. So she's actually more of a 3. She's very, very tanky. She's one of the better tank heroes in the game because this ability right here, this Prayers, she basically becomes immune to damage for 2 turns. She has plus HP and she heals herself a shit ton. So she'll pretty much never die in the front row. One of the best tanks in the game. A lot of support. Like I said, she heals a ton. A lot of it's to herself, but she still heals a lot. So she's very support oriented, as you can see here. She has okay CC. So her 5th ability has a 70% chance to suppress for a turn. So it's pretty good CC. Actually, it's a fairly high percentage chance, but it only CCs 1 target, but it's still quite good. She does 0 damage basically. This is pretty much nothing essentially. And her adaptability is quite good. She can kind of be plugged into any combo or a lot of combos and still do fairly well for herself. She can be played with other fighters, so Tech Priestess, Cannoness, Lone Wolf, Tech Priestess, Cannoness, Hummingbird, Gluttony, Cannoness, Hummingbird, Kamikaze, Cannoness, Hummingbird, Kamikaze, Cannoness, Death Rider, etc., etc. You can pretty much just place her in the middle of any sort of tanky damage dealing lineup and she'll do very well, kind of because of her support and adaptability attributes. So I'm giving her a 3. She's being upgraded to a 3, and I will reflect that upgrade from the last 2 weeks ago pool as well in the description of this video. So if you hear that siren, I apologize. For those of you who tune into my live streams, you know that the police are always out for me. Just kidding. But anyway, moving on. From Cannoness, we have Death Rider. Now, Death Rider, I talk about Death Rider all the time. I talk about Death Rider being a carry hero, as a lot of you guys know. Carry hero basically means if you have all orange heroes, you've never had a season hero in your life, and you get Death Rider, you will be fairly competitive. If you max them out, you will be fairly competitive. Period. Just that hero is all that's needed. So that's kind of what a carry hero means. Death Rider is the precise definition of a carry hero. So tank, no. He has absolutely no tanking qualities at all. He's full on damage all the time. Let's go. Basically. He has a teeny bit of CC, but it's definitely bugged. He has the suppression, but it's at such a weird percentage. It's technically a percentage of percentage and it's multiplicative, not additive. So it's a fairly low percent, but it doesn't activate as often as it should. It's definitely a bug, I believe, and most people believe. But essentially, he just does tons and tons and tons and tons of damage. So his damage scale on the chart literally just goes off the scale, and I did that on purpose. Death Rider just does damage. He also is quite adaptable. So any vehicle APC, he fits in. He fits in the back row. You can even flex him in the middle, but why? Just put him in the back row. He's immune to basically all forms of CC, so he's immune against Cannoness in the front line. He's immune against Death Rider, enemy Death Riders, etc. So that's Death Rider, so that's why he's very adaptable. You can pretty much just place him anywhere. You can place him with tanks, so you know, Kamikaze, Cannoness, Death Rider. You can place him with other glass cannons or heavy damage dealers like Countdown, or you know, you can place him with other support heroes like Organic, like Heaven's Redemption, like Wrath, like Gluttony. Pretty much everybody. I mean, obviously you're not really going to put him like in a 3 damage dealer combo, but that's not realistic. So his adaptability is still quite good. Death Rider absolutely gets a 5 out of 5. He's one of the best heroes in the game, if not the overall kind of king of the game. In terms of Season X, I would say Death Rider and Nomad are the two most important heroes to have, period. So definitely go for Death Rider. Invest everything you have into Death Rider. Well, you know, depending on your circumstance, but in most circumstances, you can basically just invest everything you have in Death Rider and it's going to pay off. So moving on, we have Crusher. Now, Crusher is lackluster at best. He's a tank. He's a pretty good tank. He heals himself a shit ton, but that's about it. That's really all he does. He does okay damage. He has no CC. He doesn't really have that much support. The only support is from this taunt. And he's not very adaptable. He basically has to be played front row vehicle squads. That's pretty much it. You might be able to flex him more, but since he's just not played enough at all, since he's just not good enough, yeah. The other reason why his tank is not like a full 4 is because he has plus combat speed, which is very odd. It's basically, I don't know. So he taunts them first? I really don't know. It should be HP. He would be a better tank. He would be a better hero, period. He wouldn't take as many losses. But I guess he doesn't really need to. It's still just weird. He's not that good. So Crusher, unfortunately, buddy, you probably get a 2. Maybe a 1.5, but a 2. 1 is kind of designated to heroes where if you get him, you're like, oh, damn. Crusher's almost at that level. So anyway, moving on from Crusher, we have the Patriot. So the Patriot is the last hero in this pool. Unfortunately, as you can see from his charts, pretty much everything's bad. I was tempted to just give him 1 for literally everything to kind of be funny, but also because it's kind of true. But he's terrible tank. He's nothing that makes him a tank at all. He has decent support though. So he can give his allies, who's over in the front row, shooter, which we'll get to in the adaptability, can counterattack, which is decent in terms of a support ability. It's not the best, but it's kind of like Panther's ability for vehicles, essentially, but for shooters. Yeah, and then he debuffs the enemy pretty decent amount, but it's such a small percentage with a 1-turn prep that it's not really that good enough. If there was no prep or this percentage was like 50, he might be a little bit better, but it's not. So that's all there is to it. Also, he buffs his own team. He makes them sober, which means they're kind of immune to CC, and he buffs their might as well. Again, too low of a percentage chance. It needs to be much higher for him to be like good or like used in the meta. So some combos for Patriot. There aren't too many. Patriot Inquisitor Valkyrie is an okay tile taking combo. That's about it. He pairs okay with Inquisitor. He pairs okay. That's it. No, I mean, he pairs okay with Valkyrie because of the counterattack. It kind of stacks along with her, and this increased might, but he's just not good enough. Patriot is at 1. There's really no combo where you should use the Patriot, period. So that's actually all the heroes in this list. There's 5 heroes, like I had said. Let's just back out real quickly to get a full overview. The rest of these orange heroes don't matter at all. The rest of the purple and blue are completely irrelevant. Overall, this pool is very good. Death Rider basically is a 6 out of 5. But he's a 5 out of 5. So Death Rider and Cannoness are pretty much must-haves. Death Rider more so, but definitely Cannoness too. She can be used a lot, especially early game. Like when you're not fully maxed out base, you'll be using Cannoness decently. I only use her rarely, even in my base. So, you know, it is what it is. Rose is kind of a 50-50. You're probably not going to be using her too much unless you have some of the heroes that she can go with. As I said, she's not very adaptable at all. Crusher, you probably won't use unless you have a fairly weak APC squad. You can use him like Crusher, Anna Ivan's okay. So you can use him there. And then the Patriot, you probably just shouldn't use him at all. Unless you're taking tiles. So that's about it. This pool overall, though, very good. So it's a 65. Patriot and Crusher really bring it down, especially the Patriot. If it was Hunk, my boy, I know I talk about Hunk all the time, probably too much. But if it was someone like Hunk, it could have either been the Patriot, Hunk, or the Wanderer. If it was Hunk, this pool would have been absolutely fantastic, which means next week the pool might be fantastic. It might be Tracker, Nomad, Hunk in that pool, which is literally just a great combo in and of itself. In this combo, you could, like, if this was your only Season X pool, these are the only Season X heroes that you have, you could run something like Crusher, Cannoness, Death Rider, and it would be okay. But that's kind of it in terms of this pool. You would probably instead, that's if you had like Baneblade, you would probably instead want to just run Death Rider separate and then Cannoness separate in a fighter squad. Or if you had Kamikaze from before, Kami, Cannoness, Death Rider is a very good combo. So go for this pool if you guys have enough tickets. I recommend not going for any of these pools unless you have 1,000 tickets or you have copies of these heroes already. But if it's your first playthrough of Season X, I wouldn't go through these pools unless you have 1,000. So that's about it. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you disagree or agree with my opinions. If you disagree, you're wrong. Just kidding, obviously. I love the discussions and, kind of back and forth concourse that we have in the comments. It's great, so keep it up. But that's about it, guys. Got it to you much quicker than last time, so hopefully you appreciate. I hope you guys are having fun. Hope you guys have tons of good luck. If you are going to pull these heroes, try to record it, upload it to YouTube, let me know, send me a link, do whatever you got to do. I like seeing your guys' luck, or you can post who you got in the comments. So anyway, guys, take care. Hope it helps. Hope you've enjoyed. Hope you're having fun. Hope you're staying safe and staying healthy. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.